What makes a great football team? The number of trophies they've won, the strength of the opponents they played to win said trophies, being named Arsenal. While these are all valid considerations, there's one above them all: impact. How they changed the way we see the game, did what was thought to be impossible, and lived rent-free in the minds of the fans. That's what makes a football team great. And today, we're finding out the greatest to ever do it. And by the greatest team, I mean exactly that. Not the greatest club ever, the greatest assembly of 11 players to grace a football pitch together. Because we know the greatest club of all time is Arsenal because. But what's the greatest team of all time? To figure that out, I came up with different buckets, different definitions of great, and the greatest among those greats, that's the greatest of all time. In 1948, Colo-Colo organized the South American Championship of Champions. It was a tournament between the champions of the most notable South American leagues, the first ever continent-wide club tournament. It was also a huge success, averaging 40,000 spectators per game and a gross revenue of 9.5 million Chilean pesos. You'd think that with a success and repetitive name they would, repeat the tournament, but they didn't. It did, however, give Gabriel Hano, a French journalist and former footballer, an idea. Why not bring it to Europe? Colonize it. In 1955, he was finally able to convince UEFA to do just that, and the European Cup was born. But kids these days call it the Champions League. In a 5-year stretch from 1956, the inaugural year of the tournament, to 1960, Real Madrid won the European Cup every single time, the longest win streak in the competition's history, and our first entry in the raffle for the greatest team of all time. The scores of the final of their 5-peat: 7-3, the most goals scored in an European Cup final, and the highest goal margin until PSG's madness against Inter Milan. With their 5-streak dominance, the Real Madrid squad of 1960 did what Europeans do best. They colonized. They made the tournament their own, becoming the first club to be permanently given the original cup and the first to earn the UEFA Badge of Honor. They almost completed another 5-peat between 2014 and 2018, but in the second year, they were knocked out by Juve in the semis, who would go on to lose to our second entry in the finals. Six years before interrupting the interrupters of Real Madrid's second 5-peat, Barcelona won the La Liga title, beat Athletic Bilbao to win the Copa del Rey, and beat Man United to win the Champions League, becoming the first Spanish team to win a treble. But they didn't stop there. They beat Bilbao again to win the Spanish Super Cup, Shakhtar Donetsk to win the UEFA Super Cup, and Estudiantes to win the Club World Cup, becoming the first European club ever to win a sextuple. But again, they didn't stop there. In 2010, Spain beat the Netherlands to win the World Cup. How does this concern Barcelona, you might ask? Well, Barcelona is a team in Spain, but 6 of the players that started in the final were also Barcelona players. That's more than half the team for you math enthusiasts. So in my opinion, Barcelona technically won the 2010 World Cup. A sextuple followed by a World Cup. How greedy. But what's 3 times better than a team technically winning the country's first World Cup? A country actually winning their third. Given the title of this chapter, that's the video done, no? Spoiler alert, no. In 1966, Brazil suffered a similar fate to 2015 Real Madrid. Winners of the past 2 World Cups, but they had it pretty rough in the third. After winning their first group stage match against Bulgaria, Brazil lost their next one to Hungary. The third match was against Portugal, and it was the match that broke the camel's back, Pele's legs, and Brazil's dreams. After receiving an injury in their win against Bulgaria, Pele was sidelined for the Hungary beating, so he felt the need to start the match against Portugal, even though he hadn't fully recovered. A move straight from the WWE and 2 tackles later, Pele was carried off the pitch, but Ore didn't let that stop him, so he limped back on the pitch. But the king got mated, knocked out of the tournament, and vowed never to play a World Cup match again. But as all kings do, he went back on his promise. The 1970 World Cup was Brazil's redemption arc. They won all their group stage matches, beat Peru in the quarters, Uruguay in the semis, but it all came together in the final. Brazil vs Italy, the first ever meeting of 2 world champions in the final. And they weren't just world champions, they were both 2-time world champions, meaning that the winner of the match will keep the trophy. The stakes were high, and Brazil grilled them to perfection. That lineup went on to be known by many as the greatest team of all time. But let's bring it back to the present, to a team that's won every major trophy there is. In 2024, Chelsea finished 6th in the Premier League. This meant that they qualified for the very prestigious UEFA Conference League, where they played against the likes of Jagiellonia Białystok, Borat Banja and Petrokop in chess. And I swear that I'm not making these names up. The final was against Real Betis, a club that most of us can pronounce, but somehow, the goal couldn't lead the side to victory, so Chelsea won the final. Now most people may argue that the only reason Chelsea accomplished this feat was because they were the only ones shit enough to be in the competition in the first place, which is true, but they also won the Club World Cup, which I made a video about. You can check it out after this one. Winning the Conference League and the Club World Cup made them the first team to win all major trophies in football, the Omnis. But we're done with second-rate London teams. It's time for the best. The ones who won a trophy without losing a single game. It's time for... Save the best for last, as they say. Unfortunately, it isn't Arsenal this time. An invincible domestic double is just better than an invincible league title. And they even almost pulled off an invincible treble. In October of 2022, Bayer Leverkusen, in the relegation zone, hired Xabi Alonso as head coach, his first senior managerial role. But he didn't just lead them out of relegation, he gave them a 6th place finish and a place in the Europa League. Not bad, but the next season was even better. After signing the likes of Alex Grimaldo, Victor Boniface and Granit Xhaka, they were set for the 2023-24 season. With a win against Werder Bremen and help from the Kinkers, they won the Bundesliga title, becoming the first team to win a Bundesliga title unbeaten, and equaling the record in Europe's top 5 leagues, which had belonged to Juventus since 2012. And a match later, they beat the record with a draw against West Ham. After a draw against Roma in the Europa League, they went 49 games unbeaten, breaking Benfica's record for the most unbeaten games in Europe since the introduction of UEFA club competitions. Then they went 51 games unbeaten, finishing the Bundesliga season unbeaten. But in the next match, their unbeaten streak ended in quite a spectacular fashion. In their 52nd game of the season, the Europa League final against Atalanta, they lost 3-0, with Ademola Lookman scoring all 3 goals. They won FC Kaiserslautern to win the DFB Pokal in their next match, so I'm counting that as an invincible domestic double. And those are our 5 contenders: Madrid, Barca, Brazil, Chelsea, and Leverkusen. All great contenders, except for Chelsea of course, but there can only be one winner. And for me, the winner and greatest team of all time is 09 Barcelona. Winning a sextuple and following it up with the World Cup just has a certain ring to it. A certain amount of impact, if you will. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.